Broads Media.
Yo, fellas, I got a great show for you. Before we dive into it, though, opening day is right around the corner, March 28th, and Coffee with Broads is returning that day, March 28th, Thursday at 11 a.m., right here on YouTube. How do you sign up? Well, the Broads Media membership page is $4.99 a month. The information is down below in the description. If you join the community, you have access starting March 28th every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Me, you, we hang out in the chat, have a cup of coffee together. I'm really looking forward to it. And there's also a Discord channel where we can talk and shoot the shit all day long, 24/7. That information's in the description as well. So do not be a fool. If you're ready for it, if you're excited for it, if you want to join the family here at Broads Media, make sure you do that, and all the info is in the description. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the show. Brian Snitker's a clown. The dude is an absolute clown. I can't wait to play all the audio, because not only did he rip Philadelphia Phillies fans, which, whatever, I could take that. The whining, the crying, the little baby that he is about the playoff format. Oh, we can't win because we have too many days off. Oh, it's so hard to catch up to the timing. Or you're losers. Right now, currently speaking, losers who can't beat the Phillies. Sure, you have that World Series under your belt from a couple of years ago, but as of this current Phillies core that are not even winning divisions left and right, you are, and for you to get embarrassed and beat up, annihilated, waxed, kicked in the fucking face nonstop, two black eyes, knockout punches. These aren't respectful series, okay? These aren't series where it's a 5 or 7 game series, like a UFC fight where it goes the distance. It goes 5 in the main event, and both guys are bloodied up, and you get a good handshake in the middle of the octagon afterwards. No. This is a swinging elbow to the chin, and it drops you 3 minutes into the fucking fight. That's what we do to you now. And hearing the damn manager of the opposing team deep down, and when you hear him speak, maybe you feel the same way, but there's a certain audio cut I'm going to play where I think he's so desperate to try and get his team fired up for us that he's doing this on purpose because he needs to somehow internally light something under their ass. But I hate to break it to you. If you gotta, you ain't good enough. Just saying. You gotta have that mentality. Zach Wheeler spoke on the midday show today on WIP. He's like, we don't even talk about it. We just know. We know what went wrong. And, we did say that there's a lot of positives, and it's not necessarily a, quote, poor season to get to the NLCS and to be one game away from the World Series, and just looking at the total package of the last 2 runs and putting together deep postseason sort of series here. And, he does take a positive spin out of that, even though some would say, wow, that's pathetic because you have to win for it to end up being successful. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I don't have a problem with them thinking that way, because guess what? If you're constantly there, if you're constantly in the mix, then you're doing something right. But the problem is here for the Atlanta Braves, they're not constantly in the mix because they can't get over the juggernaut of Bryce Harper, of JT, of Zach Wheeler. They're trying to pluck Aaron Nola away from you. They're trying to literally steal Knowles. Instead, they go with the Chris Sale move. Maybe they would have done both, I don't know. But if you're relying on Chris Sale in the year 2024, but my main point is, though, going back to Snit trying to maybe get some life out of the fellas, if you have to this badly, and you have to a few days before the regular season even begins, it's opening day. How do you not have the fuel? How do you not have the passion? How do you not have the mental the mental pursuit to go out there and kick your rival's ass. You have to have your manager speak up publicly to create all the controversy so that maybe with your backs are against the wall because he, sort of put gasoline on the fire, you have to respond. That's sad. That's sad. While Rob Thompson's kicking his feet up saying, I ain't worried about Bryce. Bryce is back. Yeah, he'll be playing on Friday. He'll be playing at the back end of the week. They ain't worried about no Bryce. They ain't worried. They got one goal in mind, and that's to get back to a World Series and seriously, finally, get the World Series trophy, the Commissioner's Trophy, back in the right place, and that's down Broad Street. Man, I can't stand Snitker. No. It's not the fact that Ronald Acuna Jr. is lazy as hell and not getting to the baseball, so JT Realmuto is running around for an inside the damn Parker. No, it's not Rhys Hoskins with the huge, insane celebration after hitting a bomb. No, it's not Bryce Harper having one of his swings of his life because there were multiple in that entire postseason stretch there, so it was all over the place. It was game after game after game. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't us stepping up with the moment being large and delivering. It's because you had a couple of uncomfortable off days after the regular season, and it was too much for you to handle. Okay. Clown. Absolute clown. All right, let's take a listen here to... This was on Sports Talk Radio in Atlanta. There's a couple different cuts here, but here is Snitker on Phillies fans. Here we go. Oh, man, what a loser. Take a listen.
You know what? It's that Philly where we're going. That is by far the most hostile crowd. I know after the playoffs last year, my wife's like, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm not going back there.
Wow.
So
let me back up for a second. Is Ronnie serious that she does not want to sit in a crowd in Philadelphia?
No, absolutely. No.
So I think it's a big deal.
It's rough there. And they don't seem to mind either, quite honestly. I mean, it was rough on them all last year, to the point that, is concerning.
I have said this on the air for a long time, and I'm sorry, I'll say it again. I've had friends who go up there with road uniforms in Philadelphia, and I've seen ushers kind of look the other way and say you should know better. But you're saying yourself you don't feel comfortable, and she doesn't feel comfortable sitting in the stands in Philadelphia.
No, I tell her don't wear anything with Braves on it either, because you're a marked person then, and like I said, they don't.
That's
people
silly.
Don't,
no, that's ridiculous.
The home team, they don't seem to mind that our wives and
are being treated.
You know what? It's our wives, girlfriends, families. You know what I mean? And inappropriate stuff being said around the children and things like that, and it's just nobody seems to care.
You should be embarrassed. Embarrassed. Yo, the season's about to start. Think about this. You're ready to take the mound for game one, and here you are. I wasn't lying when I said crying. I wasn't lying when I said whining. I wasn't lying when I said being the biggest baby ever. The fact that opening day's not too far away here, and listen to how you're talking about your biggest rival. Yeah, there's so many damn people that sign in Philly because they saw what the atmosphere like, and they said, I don't want to play anywhere else. That's the greatest atmosphere I've seen baseball played in the majors. There's something special about doing it there. And guess what? If Snit had any opportunity to have that supporting him, he'd love it. The problem is you got some idiots out there in Bravestown that are throwing beer bottles on the field, throwing stuff at people. They're around everywhere. So the lazy narrative that it's only in Philly is just lazy. Maybe you should do your research. San Francisco 49ers. Go listen to what some of their fans have done. And unfortunately, there's a small percentage of all fan bases that are horrible human beings. But that's not just a Philly thing. That's anywhere, you could find disgusting, disgraceful things, and just as much as here, than in Oakland, and in Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions. It's horrible. It's not a good thing. We need to change as humans. That's a human problem, not a fan base problem. But anyway, I was at the game where JT hit that inside the Parker, and I was standing in the section right next to the entire 100 level of Braves family and friends. And it was fun. It was funny, but there was nothing crossing the line, saying bad things to people. That doesn't mean there might not be an example of one person going too far, because when you have 55, 60,000 people drinking all day long, guess what? I don't care what you're watching. I don't care if it's a concert. I don't care if it's anything. Something is probably going to be said, just because, once again, a human being problem. But he made it seem like, oh man, it's so unsafe. Now, there were some jabs. They stood up and clapped and did it sarcastically, trying to provoke us, and they thought it was funny, and they led into it a little bit, so we led into it as well. But it's not to the point here where, you can't even go? You can't even go? Oh, we're so bad. And you know what? The fact that they called it concerning is hilarious to me. But the whole road jersey things, that's what makes this great. That's what makes playing here awesome. Is, come on in. Welcome. Come take over my stadium. Like, how pathetic are you? Playoffs? We're in the play. Oh, come on in. Oh, are you from out of town? Shut up. Get out of here. Get your ass out of this fucking city and go watch on a TV in your own fucking state. What's wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? I love it. I think it's unbelievably great. All within range. All right, as long as it's done within range. And the fact that their manager's already doing this, it's so hilarious to me, man. It's so funny. Yeah, I'm getting a little fired. He fails baseball. See, the thing is, he had to do this because he tried. He probably looked around the clubhouse and tried to see, do we have it? Oh, no, we don't have it. Oh, my God, no, we don't have it. I got to say something to spark the life. And the thing is, you also woke up the beast, though. You woke up the beast. Opening day at Citizens Bank Park, Zach Wheeler getting the ball. I swear to God, I hope to God that place is so horrendous for Snitker, just crushing them for the entire 3 hours. Hopefully the game's 5 hours, even with the new damn rules. 5 hours. You want to know why? Because it's 4 runs, 6 runs, 10 runs, 18 runs. The score's 56-2, and you're getting bent over. Bend them over. Oh, man. Man. Tell you what, see, I'm not worried about Bryce's back right now. Maybe it's a defensive mechanism. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But let's now make fun of Snitker for just how silly he sounds in regards to just where the baseball world is with some of these new rule changes and the playoff format, because he doesn't like it. What do you know?
I don't like the system, quite honestly. We're going to have to deal with it. We better figure it out, because we're going to try like hell this year to win the division and have 5 days off again. I mean, we can change all the focus and all that we want. I think, as an offensive player, when you're not seeing, the lights aren't on, the juices aren't flowing, and you're not seeing velocity like you're going to face in the playoffs, it's, it's hard to score.
Be better. It's not that difficult. Just actually be better. This narrative that the new format is bad for the teams that are having regular season success, I disagree. The Houston Astros did it, and this whole the Dodgers are always winning in the regular season, and then they're not winning in the playoffs now. Maybe or the team hasn't won the COVID season aside, because a 60-game playoff run is not the same as the full journey. Okay, so 1988. We're talking 1988. What is that, 50-something years ago? That's how long it's been. This new format format is pretty new. This new format isn't from that long ago. So there's plenty of examples of good teams and good organizations that just can't get over the hump. And maybe you should realize that there's other things to focus on other than that. They're talking about this so much. I think it's distracting them from a real issue, which is fine by me. I mean, from a perspective of a fan from another team in the NL East, go ahead, take your time and waste on it, because as Snitker says in this clip, they have tried multiple different things. So hold on a second. You've tried multiple things, but you're getting the same result. Oh, okay, I'm the idiot. Take a listen here on Snit and how he's changed it.
Yeah, I completely redid what we did this year compared to 2 years ago. We had normal work days, and we played We played 3 games. We let the fans in for free. We showed up at the same time. We did batting practice. We did our extra work, and we played a game. And I'll be honest with you, the biggest thing we haven't done is hit. And I just don't think in baseball. I always worry about 4 days off at the All-Star break, but everybody's going through that, not just a couple of teams. It's hard to hit velocity when you haven't seen anything in 5 days. That's my biggest thing. We had a team that set all these records and everything offensively, and we didn't hit much in the postseason.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because you didn't execute. To me, it sounds like one big fat excuse, doesn't it? Well, we didn't win because of this outside factor. We didn't win because of that outside factor. We couldn't win because Rob Manfred did this. Or the Philadelphia Phillies grew some balls all of a sudden and realized that we were meant for playoff ball. We are here to seriously compete for it. You want to have 100 wins? We'll be at around 90, and we'll see you when it matters most. And good for you with those little regular season wins. But if you know anything about the Atlanta Braves right now, you can't put a ton of stock in that. Like, it's great that you're constantly winning a lot of games. Yeah, no doubt. But they're sort of in Sixers mode where you could win 50 regular season games, but because we've had so much pain and suffering of not getting out of the second round, this version of the Atlanta Braves team right now, with the Phillies as strong as they are, their regular season win total doesn't mean a damn thing, because when they see their biggest rival in their own division in the playoffs, they can't figure it the hell out. So take those regular season wins, shove it up the ass, and it's pathetic to hear them cry like that. I just thought in professional sports we could be a little bit more mature. That's all. That's my point with this whole thing, is I am stunned. Even the Braves, I'm stunned they dipped this low and they got this below the belt. Like, this is below the belt if you're going to play that what's below the belt kind of thing. That shot was below the belt. That's more chirping one another. But this is a little different, I guess. That was a horrible. My problem is it was so bad because I'm so dumbfounded on how Snitker could even try and hold this clubhouse to this standard. This is their standard. I would be disgusted if I was Rob Thompson, if Rob Thompson was doing this and I had to deal with my manager playing these cards. Thank you. I could never do it. I'd never be able to deal with it in my life. Listen to what he'd rather do. Would you rather have an opportunity to set your rotation up? Would you rather have some time off to get a little healthy? Maybe someone's nursing an ankle. You just played 162. Your other teams are beating one of each other up, and they're utilizing their starting pitching in the top end of their rotation. So you'd think that'd be an advantage, right? Take a listen to Snit on what he would do if he had the opportunity. Oh, my God. I could not believe these came out of his mouth.
All right, I'll give you an option. You guys get the choice. You win the division. Do you want the days off, or do you want to go right away and play the Marlins? You play the wild card. Would you want that option?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No, it's not. Terrible.
I'd like to play.
You'd like to play. You'd like to play. That is so bad. Okay, so moments ago, what was stated? We're still going to go for that division win. We're still going to try and get that bye. But then moments later, you want to take the wild card. You want to play. Okay, so there's already mixed messaging from the manager prior to the first game starting. Oh, man. Oh, it's been a while since I've sort of had this opportunity. This type of podcast where it's a little different. I've been screaming about the Eagles forever, so it's just so nice to see incompetence from the other side. It's so nice to see another franchise. I said a Nick Sirianni bothering me and his presence getting a little sour, because that's what happened by the end of the year. Seeing Snitker play this role is comedy. He's been around baseball for a long time. He knows the market of Philadelphia. This was absolutely methodical. This was thought out. This was stated for certain things. There's no way in hell you ever rip this city and we're not going to find out. With the power of social media, it doesn't matter that he was on some Atlanta sports radio show or wherever the hell he was doing his radio hit at. It doesn't matter if he thought that it was sort of secluded to that range. He's been around Major League sports forever now, and this is how we operate. It was absolutely thought out, and I think he's trying to do that to motivate his team. But to me, if you have to motivate your team that way, then man, oh, geez, what does that say about what is in your room? And I mean that. I think that is definitely something to monitor. All right, from a distance here, that team's already asking questions and then speaking out of both sides of their mouths. So they're asking questions, don't know the answers yet. Most teams don't. We haven't even got established here yet, but they're still asking certain questions. I don't know if they want to win the division or not. I think publicly they keep saying it because they feel they have to, but they don't really mean it. So I'm sniffing out the BS before it's even game one. To me, I mean, look, I'm a digger. All right, I'm a digger. I search, and I'll put that shovel in the mud, and I'll keep going to find certain topics. So that's what I do. And the fact that this is as easy as it is, and the Braves haven't even taken the diamond yet legitimately. Hey, I can't wait to see Spencer Strider. Dude, that's going to be fun. Oh, my God. And Zach Wheeler adding pitches to his repertoire. Christopher Sanchez talking about his changeup. There's some things that I'm super stoked for. Dude, Zach Wheeler adding more? Okay, yeah, okay. You thought he was good the last few years. You thought he was shut down and electric and one of the best pitchers in all of baseball over the last few years. Now let's add a splitter. You thought Hector Neris had a nice splitter. Wait till you see Zach Wheeler splitter. Okay? All right. So let's go into another direction here. I really enjoy what John Boy Media brings to the table, if you guys are familiar with John Boy Media, of course. And Chris Rose does a show with Trevor Plouffe. They had a little discussion on the Phillies, and then Talking Baseball had a little division talk about the Phillies as well. So I figured why not maybe package this together with the pathetic Braves and react to maybe some of the stuff they said to bring a different combo to the board here. So let's take a listen to Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe going back and forth about Bryce Harper and his current situation of the back.
Meanwhile, Bryce Harper is expected to return to the lineup for the Phillies later this week. He's missed the last several games with a bad back. He says it's nothing to worry about. Are you worried?
Yeah, a little bit. He dealt with it last year. I think he understands his body and when to push on the brakes a little bit. Spring training is a good time to do that. I'm more concerned about the back lingering and, zapping a little bit of that power because, you torque your body so much, especially a guy like Bryce has a beautiful swing, but it's also a very violent swing.
I know that every athlete is different, but I am worried a little bit on the Tiger Woods scale here because you talked about the violent swing. Tiger had the most violent swing in the history of golf. And what was one of the first things to go on him? It was his back. And then it would be his knee. And then everything else started going to shit. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried.
I agree completely with Chris Rose there. That's exactly where I am. And nobody wants to hear it today because we are excited for the regular season to begin, and we're excited for opening day. And Bryce is Bryce. Bryce is one of the most insane athletes we've had in this town. So, of course, it's amazing just processing all the great things he could do on the diamond. But first base is strange. When you play right field, it's different for your body. You have different movements. Eric Kratz was on with Hugh Douglas and Joe Giglio, and he brought up just the differences on when you're kind of think about it. You're pitching, right? If somebody's pitching, you're playing first base. But when he throws the pitch, you're moving side to side. You get a little jump off the toes of your feet. It's different than if you're tracking a ball out in right field. And Bryce Harper hasn't done this. He's never played this position this way. To go to an everyday first baseman, maybe there is truth to his body at 30-something years old. It's now getting readjusted to a different position, and the fact that he has a violent swing, which is not hidden. That has always been discussed. And bringing up Tiger Woods was like a light bulb in my brain because that's almost a perfect example of my fear. And I'd be lying to you all if I just blocked that out and didn't pretend like it was real. If I just closed my eyes, I don't see what you're saying. Hey, I don't see no back problem. Oh, Alec Boehm is finally going over to first base in spring training. Oh, that happens right after the news of Bryce Harper and his back. That's not strange at all. That's not bizarre at all. I mean, what would you do? Would you have Boehm play first? I know you have Edmundo Sosa in theory, but would you like to utilize a Whit Merrifield in the infield? Does he go to second? Do you move Stott around and now have it being musical chairs, which is something that I don't necessarily love? But yeah, I don't know. I thought that Tiger Woods example is almost perfectly describing sort of where I'm at. And then once you overcompensate because your back is hurting you for a little bit, now you're putting more pressure on a certain part of your body like your knees, and now your knees give out differently. And he's 30-something years old now, and he's not getting any younger. So I'm not being blinded by it. I'm sorry. It's not me choosing to talk negatively about a team that I think can go win a World Series. That's the power of this team to me. They are good enough to win a World Series. So I just have to keep it 100. There is a part of this that can go wrong, and there are real reasons to get worried about Bryce Harper physically. Now, I was talking about Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez. I did not bring up Taijuan Walker. So his most recent start, this is from Todd Zalecki. Taijuan Walker might return for the second inning, but he exits the first after throwing 31 pitches, allowing a couple of home runs, and his fastball is sitting in the 89 to 92 range. Now, Matt Gelb adds some info to this as well. For what it's worth, the Phillies botched a routine double play and then another grounder before Taijuan Walker allowed 2 homers. But he did sit 88 to 91 in the first inning, and he was behind in many counts. So I do think it's fair to acknowledge that the defense behind him kept that inning alive, but also when you're sitting 88 to 91, yeah, that's not good. I was really expecting Taijuan Walker to be better than last season. I'm not telling you he'd be phenomenal. I'm saying he'd be better than last season. That was my bar. I don't know if we're even getting there, which would be horrendous. I mean, as a fourth starter, you got to give us something. You got to eat innings, man. You got to do more than just eat innings, though. You got to eat innings and throw more than 88 miles per hour here. I'm sorry, that's the standard I have for you, but you got to give us something. So I don't know what we're going to get out of Taijuan Walker, and it is starting out super, super low for me, which is extremely scary. Okay, this will be the last cut we react to. This is the Talking Baseball crew. So it's John Boy, it's Jake, and Trevor Plouffe. 3 guys on Talking Baseball, and they talk about the Phillies and just kind of what they're expecting this season and the NL East. And I think they did a rating, and I don't know if it was their fans or everyone who works for John Boy Media, but they put together maybe their version of power rankings, and they break it down here. They had the Phillies at about 5. Here we go.
The Philadelphia Phillies, you guys ranked them as the 5th best team in Major League Baseball. They won 90 games last year, which gave them second place in the NL East.
I want to see them come out and be kind of the regular season Phils. I want to see them bop and embarrass people. The big bad Braves are looming in this division. I didn't think the division was in play last year. I think it is this year.
Them beating the Braves the way they did last year in the division series, is that kind of why you're saying you think the division is in play this year?
No, I don't think they ever feared the Braves like that. Like I think they always knew in a playoff series, our best versus their best, why not beat them? Also, the Mets were supposed to be a threat coming into last season. This year, they aren't really. This Phillies team it's I don't want to say it's perfect, but like all of these guys are kind of in their prime.
You guys aren't going to like this line. It's 90.5.
I'm going to take the over.
I'll take the over as well.
Get the broomstick out. I'm going over.
Going over on the 90.5. See, every year for the last few years, I always thought that it was a little low, and then it ends up being right on the money-ish. So if they're telling me about 90.5, that makes sense for what I anticipated. I had them in that low 90 range, 92, 93 or so, which wouldn't really win the division. If they were going to win the division, it would have to be high 90s. And if you think, well, the Braves are going to win 100, well, if the Phillies do their job in the regular season and beat up on the Braves, and that would bring their win total down, and the Phillies maybe around like 99 or so, 98. That's what it would take in my eyes to do it, and maybe that's just not what they do, all right? I'm not going to say they're going to sniff 100 wins until I finally see them sniff 100 wins, because they make up excuses, too, for why they're starting off slow for 2 straight seasons. So I'm making fun of the Braves for some excuses. Hey, it is real that I had to hear them talk about forever the World Baseball Classic and visa issues and this and that. It's like, oh, well, we're not going to start slow this year. Okay, then don't. Prove it to me. Then don't. All right? It's time for you to put your money where your mouth is. Don't. Because if you are going to win the division, or if you are going to win over 90.5 and be closer to 97, 98, 99, you can't be starting out 15 and 28 or whatever. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But I've seen it over the few years, and it took a firing of the manager with Joe Girardi, and then, it just took an epic run and digging deep, and Rob Thompson and a lot of the guys like Bryce getting healthy because he wasn't starting the season, and there were multiple different reasons why they kind of got back on path. But how about we just have a solid, structured season? There's dips and valleys and peaks and all that stuff that happen, but it can't be as atrocious as it's been over the last few years. Do something about it. It's time for you to finally put your money where your mouth is. By the way, the last thing I'll say before I let you all go is this is Brian Snitker's maybe 9,000th time crying about the playoff format. Will you just shut up already? Seriously, I swear to God, it's the 9,000th time I've heard him on some podcast, on Foul Territory, on this, on that. All he does is complain. Just shut up and go play some ball and see if you can finally beat us here at the Citizens Bank Park. All right, I almost said the Wells Fargo Center. We'll play indoors, too, if you want. If you want to just go a couple blocks down, we'll play at the Link. We'll play at the Wells Fargo. We'll play at CBP, a little 3-game set. You're going to be walking home because bend them over. That's what we're going to do to you. All right, everybody, I appreciate the love and support. Thank you all so much for watching this show, and I will see you all on the next one.